8-bit games that pushed the boundaries of horror. The 8-bit era of gaming, characterized by limited graphics and sound, may not seem like the ideal environment for horror. However, a number of innovative developers managed graphic experiences that transcended their technological constraints, creating atmospheres that affect with dread and tension. In this article, we'll explore 8-bit games that dare to tread into horror territory, showcasing the innovative ways that these titles left a lasting impact on the genre. Number 1, Castlevania for 1986. Is one of the most iconic titles in the horror game canon. Castlevania introduced players to a world brimming with gothic elements, including vampires, mummies, and other classic monsters. The game's atmospheric music, combined with its haunting visuals and labyrinthine castle designs, evoked a sense of dread as players navigated through eerie environments. The tension built through its boss fights, particularly against Dracula himself, cemented Castlevania as a cornerstone of horror gaming. Number 2, Sweet Home for 1989. Originally released for the Famicom in Japan, Sweet Home is often credited as the precursor to survival horror. Based on the horror film of the same name, the game utilized a unique blend of RPG mechanics and puzzle-solving elements. Players controlled a group of characters, each with distinct skills as they explored a haunted mansion. The psychological horror was amplified by permadeath mechanics, where losing character meant losing their abilities permanently, a risk that kept players on edge throughout their journeys. Number 3, Ghosts and Goblins from 1985. Ghosts and Goblins was a platformer that combines whimsical cartoon visuals with terrifying enemies and a relentless difficulty curve. Players take on the role of Sir Arthur, who must rescue Princess Prin Prin from the Demon King. The game is notorious for its punishing gameplay, but it also excels in creating a sense of horror for its grotesque enemy designs and the eerie soundtrack. The juxtaposition of its lighthearted graphics with dark themes and of death and resurrection make it a memorable entry in horror gaming. Number 4, Maniac Mansion for 1987. As one of the first graphic adventure games, Maniac Mansion utilized a point-and-click interface to immerse players in a horror narrative. Set in a creepy mansion filled with bizarre characters, players could choose their protagonists and explore various story paths. The game's use of dark humor, combined with its unsettling atmosphere and constant threat posed by the mad scientist, Dr. Fred, created a unique blend of tension and intrigue. Its innovative gameplay mechanics and non-linear storytelling influenced countless horror games to come. Number 5, Splatterhouse Wanpaku Graffiti from 1988. While the original Splatterhouse series is often recognized for its visual horror, Wanpaku Graffiti took a different approach by adopting a more cartoonish aesthetic. Despite its lighter tone, the game still managed to convey horror through its themes of violence and grotesque enemies. Players control Rick, who must rescue his girlfriend from the evil forces within the haunted mansion. This juxtaposition of cute graphics and horrific subject matter provided a unique experience that still resonates with horror fans. Number 6, The Legend of Zelda, 1986. Though primarily an action-adventure game, The Legend of Zelda contains elements of horror that contribute to its overall atmosphere. The dark dungeons, eerie sound effects, and unsettling enemies like the Wizrobes and Golma create a sense of unease. The game's use of darkness and exploration of the unknown, coupled with its haunted music, instilled a sense of fear that lingered with players long after they turned off their consoles. Number 7, Akumanchu Dracula, Castlevania, 1986. The original Castlevania was rebranded as Akumanchu Dracula in Japan and is set the stage for a franchise that would delve deeper into horror themes in later iterations. This version introduced players to a world filled with dark creatures and a foreboding atmosphere. The game's focus on gothic horror elements, such as Dracula's castle and its various traps, laid the groundwork for future horror games that would explore similar themes. And number 8, The Haunted House from 1982. One of the earliest examples of horrors in video gaming, a haunted house for the Atari 2600 utilized simple graphics to create an unsettling atmosphere. Players navigated a dark mansion filled with ghosts and other supernatural threats while searching for pieces of an urn. The limited visibility and eerie sound effects contribute to a sense of fear, making players feel vulnerable as they explore the haunted environment. This game set a precedent for the use of darkness and sound to evoke horror in gaming. Conclusion: the 8-bit era may have been limited by technological constraints, but these games proved that creativity and innovation could push the boundaries of horror. From atmospheric soundtracks to clever gameplay mechanics, developers found ways to immerse players in terrifying experiences despite the limitations of their time. These 8 titles not only left a lasting impact on the horror genre, but also paved the way for future games that would continue to explore the depths of fear and dread. As we look back on these pioneering titles, we are reminded that true horror transcends graphics and sound. It lies in the ability to evoke motion and create a sense of unease, something that these 8-bit games achieve masterfully. Hey there, fantasy and science fiction fans, lovers. If you can't get enough of mystical realms, futuristic worlds, and thrilling adventures, then you come to the right place. By subscribing to fantasy and science fiction at Story Nori, you gain access to an amazing collection of stories that will transport you to realms beyond your imagination. By hitting that subscribe button, you'll never miss out on the latest tales of wizards, time travels, space exploration, and so much more. Our channel is dedicated to bringing you the best in fantasy and science fiction storytelling, and we're always adding new and exciting content for you to enjoy. But that's not all. By subscribing, you'll be also becoming part of our incredible community of fellow fantasy and sci-fi enthusiasts. You'll be first to know about the latest content for the channel that you won't find anywhere else. So what are you waiting for? Join us on this epic journey into the unknown by subscribing to fantasy and science fiction at Story Nori today. Your next thrilling adventure awaits. Right, hit that subscribe button and let the storytelling begin. Thank you for being part of our amazing community. We can't wait to share even more incredible stories with you.